Hello everyone, good morning and welcome to today's session. So today we are going to discuss about chapter 18 and we will be discussing a new topic that is sustainable development goals, environmental, social and governance, environment, social and governance ESG, okay, assurance. Basically in this particular chapter, we will learn about sustainability, sustainable development goals, ESG assurance, and what is happening currently with respect to the ESG reporting and ESG assurance in India and across the world. Before I proceed, before I move ahead, can anyone tell me what they understand with respect to the sustainability or sustainable development? Just, like it's a very common thing, we might have read multiple times. What do you understand by sustainable development? When I say sustainable development, what do you understand by sustainable development? And why I am asking this? Because this something is very different than the financial audit that we have seen till now. It's altogether different. You need a different perspective to understand this topic. This is not about the numbers, but still it has the assurance. So what do you understand by sustainable development? Come on, guys. What do you understand by sustainable development? Whatever comes to your mind. Whatever. Anyone? The development which is not only done for the present but for the future also. Very good, Tanisha. Very good. What else? Anyone else? No? Okay. When I talk about sustainability or sustainable development, again, I'm talking about, a development which is not only for the current period of today, which is development based on, such system where, we are actually protecting natural resources, ecosystem for the future also. Okay. So it's a kind of, human development, okay, while enabling natural system to provide natural resources and ecosystem to humans. So it talks about economic development. It talks about environmental protection. It's talk about social well-being. Okay. And everything with respect to sustainable development started with one report. That report was Brundtland Land Report. Okay. Also known as Our Common Future. So that was a report that was published, Brundtland Land Report, or the report was named as Our Common Future, which was published in 1987 by United Nations. Okay. Now, that report re-examined the critical issues of environment and development, and that particular report focused upon strengthen international cooperation with respect to the environmental development, and assess the new forms of cooperation that can be brought into. A lot of things were there. Okay. Now, as I told you, sustainable development means not only thinking about present but thinking about future also. It's not only development, economic development, but environmental protection, social well-being, everything is a part. As a result, sustainable development, okay, has three major pillars. One is environmental pillar, second is social pillar, and third is the governance pillar. So when I talk about sustainable development or sustainability, I talk about environmental protection from where the environmental aspects come into the picture. I talk about social well-being from where the social aspects come into the picture. And I talk about economic development from where the governance aspects come into the picture. And when you provide assurance on all these three pillars, it becomes ESG assurance. It becomes your ESG assurance. Okay. Here we will learn about, okay, what is ESG assurance? What are sustainable development goals? And how we as a chartered accountant play a very important role. Okay. So before I proceed, can anyone tell me, is there any ESG reporting currently happening in India? Is there any ESG reporting being happening, currently being happening in India? Any ESG reporting currently, happening in India? Like any law it is there or any provision or anything, Very good, Mancha. Very good. What else, guys? Come on. Very good, Sumit. What else? Okay. Very good, Mancha. Very good, Sumit. I've received two answers with respect to the reporting part. What else, guys? Anyone else? Yes, Shravan. Very good. Okay. So in India, there are multiple reportings, not even one. So if you're saying BRSR reporting, that is business responsibility and sustainability reporting, that's not the one. No. So we will understand how in India also the ESG reporting, evolved from time to time. Okay. So let's go into the deep of this topic. Okay, and let's understand. Now, as I told you, sustainability has three major pillars. One is the environment pillar, okay, which talks about corporate climate policies. Like when I talk about environment, we need to think from the corporate point of view, company's point of view. Okay, so corporate climate policies, energy use, waste pollution, natural resources conservation, treatment of animals. A lot of things are there with respect to environment side. Okay, which includes use of coal, electricity, water, and so on. Okay, now when you talk about the social aspects. It talks about the relationship of the corporate with the people, with the community, with the society, the relationship of the business, okay, with the society at the large is something the social. And governance, we already have seen the governance. Governance is, internal systems of practice, control, procedures adopted by the company. So till now, we were only focusing upon the governance. Whenever we were discussing any of the audit, any of the thing, we were focusing only on the governance. But now we need to add two more aspects, that is environment and social. Okay. Environment and social into the picture also. Basically, these all things, these all reporting guidelines or reporting requirements are somewhere or another, or other, they are linked to sustainable development goals. Now, what are sustainable development goals? Can anyone tell me? Can anyone tell me what are sustainable development goals? Come on, guys. What are sustainable development goals? Come on. Okay. Okay, Sumit. Come on, guys. What are sustainable development goals and how many are there? So, what are sustainable development goals, guys? And how many are there? Who issued these goals? Anyone? Okay. Good Manchar, yes, but they are somewhere related. Yes, they are. SGD is something different. We will see about the integrated reporting in SGD, Sumit. Very good, Manchar. Yes. Okay, Tanisha. Okay, I'll show you. So there are total 17 sustainable goals that were issued by the United Nations. Okay. These goals were issued to, remove these problems, basically. For example, goal number one, no poverty. Goal number two, zero hunger. Goal number two, ensure healthy lives and promote well-being at all ages. That is good health and well-being. Goal number four, quality education. Goal number five, your gender equality. Six, clean water. Clean water and sanitation. Seven, affordable and clean energy. Eight, decent work and economic growth. Nine, industry, innovation and infrastructure. 10, reduced inequalities. 11, your sustainable cities and communities that make cities and human settlement inclusive, safe, resilient, and sustainable. 12, responsible consumption and production. 13 climate action, 14 life below water, 15 life on land, 16 peace, justice and strong institutions, and 17 partnership for the goals. So these are the sustainable development goals which are issued by UN, and these are the 17 sustainable goals. Okay, they have these target to achieve. They want to achieve these target by 2020 2030. So this is known as the 2030 agenda for the sustainable development. Means they want to achieve these target by the end of 2030 so that they can call it okay, everywhere there is now sustainable development. Yes, Tanisha, you can say that okay, these goals then we can classify between environment, social and governance. But from these goals, okay, from these goals now the concept of the reporting also increased much. Think now, everyone want to achieve these goals. Okay, every institution wants to achieve these goals. As a result, what has happened is, there is a trend now. Okay, I would not say trend, but to comply and to show that they are achieving these goals, they are trying to help to achieve these goals. A reporting has started. Corporate reporting has started in various forms. One such reporting that you told, you only provided at BRSR reporting. So these goals, okay, these goals are the one which are providing the base for the reporting. So from where this ESG is coming, it's from here. I'll show you one example. Yeah. This is annual report, okay, of a particular company. Now see, every company is now paying attention to ESG. ESG highlights, okay, improving health and well-being, enhancing livelihoods, responsible business practice, reduce environmental impact. And if you see, now what they do is they create ESG materiality metrics. Means what they do is they identify material sustainable issues, okay, which are critical for the business and stakeholder and where they report. For example, first is the climate change, human rights, sustainable sourcing, water, governance, ethics and compliance, packaging and waste, diversity, equity, inclusion. So these are creating some basically uh, topics or matters which are required to be reported. Okay, and then accordingly they report. If you see, there's an ESG governance structure also where you have a board of directors, you have an ESG committee, you have ESG function leaders. And it's not with respect to this company, each and every company is now paying okay attention to this particular topic, ESG. Okay. Reason because everyone wants to contribute to the society in a one or another way. Now, the moment a reporting requirement comes into the picture, our role also starts because unless and until no one has verified this reporting, it's kind of not giving any kind of assurance to anyone. So if a reporting has to be has to enhance the confidence in people, okay, if the reporting has to increase confidence in the stakeholders, some kind of assurance has to be given on that. And that assurance we as a chartered accountant provide on the ESG reporting. I'll show you something more on this report. See, annual report on CSR. Okay, annual report on CSR pursuant to CSR rules 2014. Now, again, this is also part of the ESG initiative. CSR is a part of ESG. It's not something different, but in a phased manner, it was brought into the picture. So this CSR reporting, CSR activities, whatever are being done, BRSR, Business Responsibility and Sustainability Report. Let us see this report. See, report for the 22-23. Now we have made significant progress against actual compass ESG goals. In our own manufacturing operations, we have reduced our CO2 emission by this percentage and water usage by this much cubic meter per ton, and total waste generated by our factories by 55%. Okay, in FY 22-23. How you will verify? Till the time you don't know what to verify, what to report, you cannot verify this particular number. Now, today, as an auditor, if someone asks you, please perform the audit of this report, here we are not talking about the numbers, financial numbers, but these numbers are different. CO2 emission, water usage, okay, waste generation. This is altogether different. And from where it is coming, you need to understand. And why we are learning this topic? Reason because to make you familiar that, okay, this kind of reporting happens. There are certain laws and provisions which require this kind of reporting. And what is our role and responsibility with this kind of reporting? See, assurance report. Independent practitioner limited assurance report on identified sustainable indicators in this business responsibility and sustainability report. Now, what is this? To the members and board of directors of this particular company, we have undertaken to perform limited assurance engagement for this company. Okay, wide our engagement letter this in respect of the agreed indicators, parameters listed below. These parameters are known as sustainability indicators. These indicators parameters are included in the report of the company for the year this. The reporting boundary being at disclosed in question number 13 and 21 of section A of the this report, with the exception if any, has been disclosed as a note under the respective questions under BRSR. If you see the responsibility over here. Now, before I go to show and responsibility, let me show you who has signed this report. See who has signed the report. It's a chartered accountant who is giving this kind of assurance. And let's understand the role of a chartered accountant with respect to the responsibilities which are enumerated in this report. See, our responsibility means responsibility of a chartered accountant. Our responsibility is to express a limited assurance conclusion on the identified sustainability indicators based on the procedures we performed and evidence we have obtained. Now, before I go to this, particular report's responsibility in detail, I would like to draw your attention to this particular point. Limited assurance report. Can anyone tell me where you have heard this particular term before also? When we have discussed this term, can anyone tell me? Limited assurance report. Where we have heard about this particular term? Come on, guys. Come on, come on. We have discussed this topic. We have discussed this topic in detail. Where we have discussed? Come on, guys. Where we have discussed the topic of limited assurance report. Where? Come on, guys. Where? Anyone? Okay. So, some people are saying that we have discussed in SAE 3410. Okay. Can anyone tell me in which lecture we discussed SAE 3410? Okay, what chapter it was? What chapter it was? Mansa, can you tell me in which chapter we discussed about SAE 3410? Come on, guys. Hmm. Yes, Shravan, very good. Yes, Shruti, very good. Hmm. How many of you are saying that, okay, we have discussed this particular topic, limited assurance report, in SAE 3410? How many of you say that? Come on, guys. I'll show you something. Okay. Now, this is chapter 11, where we discuss about SAE, okay, standard on assurance engagements. Now, we discussed about 3400, okay. We discussed about 3400. We discussed about 3402. We discussed about 3420. Where is 3410 that you are quoting here? Where is SAE 3410? And if it is not there, then in your report, okay, in your report, like in this particular report, we could see something ISAE 3410 or ISAE 3000, not 2400. So don't worry, I'll simplify it for you. You might be confused now. What are international standard on assurance engagement 3000, or you know, international assurance yeah, international standards on assurance engagement 3410 with respect to engagement on greenhouse gas statement. So SAE 3410 is nothing but it's part of, it's have been, on line of ISAE 3410. So ISAE 3410. From there, the reference was taken for the SAE 3410. And that is with respect to, okay, assurance engagement on greenhouse gas statement. Means if there is any reporting on the greenhouse gas, then this particular engagement, if you are auditing that particular statement as an auditor, then you will be following SAE 3410. Okay. Then SAE 3410 will come into picture. So this SAE 3410 is, already been issued. Okay. And it's there, like, where auditors, they follow SAE 3410. And, in here, like rather than calling it a SAE, okay, standard on assurance engagement, we call this double SAE, because this is not only standard on assurance engagement. These are sustainability and, okay, these are standards on sustainability assurance engagements. So these are specific for the sustainability assurance engagement. So when I call it, like anything for the ESG related thing, so these standards govern the ESG related assignments, ESG related, assurance reporting. So they become SSAE, that is standards on sustainability. Sorry. Standard on sustainability assurance engagement. Okay. So standard on sustainability assurance engagement, which is basically which is basically, these standards are governing the assurance engagement for sustainability assurance engagement assignments. Okay. Now, double SAE 3410, or we have this one, double SAE 3000. Okay. These two standards are basically, the one which governs the reporting, sustainability assurance reporting in India. Okay. They both govern the sustainability assurance reporting in India. Till 2023 or 2024, the adoption was, okay, voluntary, but now after March 2024, it is mandatory. So double SAE 3000, okay, for period covering after 31st March 2024, it's mandatory. So this particular standard mandatory after March 2024 to be followed. Okay. This is mandatory to be followed after March 2024 for the periods covering after March 2024. And you already have 3410, okay, which is applicable for the assurance engagement on greenhouse gas statements. Okay, which basically talks about the BRSR statement. And that is already mandatory to follow. Okay, so this is applicable for BRSR statements. Clear? So both of the standards, for the BRSR and for 3410 and 3000, both, okay, will be effective from 31st March 2024. So till 31st March 2024, it was voluntarily, but now it is required to be followed mandatorily after 31st March 2024. So this is nothing but the assurance engagements on greenhouse gas statement. So we were talking about the assurance report on business reporting and sustainability report, business responsibility and sustainability report. Now, if you see over here, the responsibility says that we have conducted our limited assurance engagement in accordance with the ISAE 3000, that will become now double SAE 3000. Okay, that is assurance engagement other than the audit or reviews of historical financial information. Okay, because your audit engagement with respect to the historical financial information is already covered by other standards. Okay, so assurance engagement with respect to historical financial information is already covered by, or review is already covered by other standards already. But this talks about other than the audit or review of historical financial information. Means here you are not reviewing the historical financial information. Okay, and 3410, okay, engagement on greenhouse gas statement, that will become double SAE 3410. These standards require that we plan perform this engagement to obtain limited assurance about whether the identified sustainability indicators are free from material misstatement. So here we are checking whether the identified sustainability indicators are free from material misstatement or not. Now, what are these sustainability indicators? What are these sustainability indicators? Can anyone tell me what are these sustainability indicators that we are talking about? Identified sustainability indicators. Can anyone tell me what is this identified sustainability indicators? Okay, good, Mancha. Come on, guys. What are these identified sustainability indicator mean? I'll show you something more with respect to this. Just a minute. Let me show you one more thing. Getting stuck. Just a minute. Yeah. I'll show you and compare this with another report also. Okay. So I'll show you with another report. Again, different company, just don't focus on the name. Okay. And we'll compare with respect to other reports also. And I'll just show you more examples so that you can understand practically how it is working. Rather than if I show you, just provide you the theoretical one, you might not able to get the, gist about this particular thing. We will have just a minute. Uh, See, now from here starts to integrated approach to sustainable growth. Okay. Now they're talking about the ESG again. And they have identified something with respect to nature capital, human capital, manufactured capital, intellectual capital, social and relation capital, and finance capital. This particular six capitals, okay, they are known as the 6C reporting. This is known as a 6C reporting. Okay, here they provide about the six C's, six capitals: nature capital, human capital, manufactured capital, intellectual capital, social and relationship capital, and financial capital. In each of the capital, they talk about various areas related to that. For example, natural capital. They talk about environment. They talk about climate change. They talk about energy operations, ecosystems, everything. In human capital, they talk about highlights of what do you say, human related resources that is being used, like employees, health, safety, employee well-being, diversity, inclusion. Okay, all these things. Okay, then talks about manufactured capital, the goods and the equipment that has been manufactured for manufacturing, fixed asset kind of, you can say. Intellectual capitals, IP, trademark, patents, social and relationship capital, how the business is related to the social and community part. Okay. Then financial capital, they talk about the financial matters. Now these all six capital reporting, 6C reporting is nothing but the part of integrated reporting. Okay, integrated reporting. Plus, I'll just show you something more. If you see this particular one, task recommendations of the task force on climate related financial disclosures, TCFD. We will read more about this TCFD today. Okay, and we will understand how this is important. Okay, recommendations of TCFD, that is task force on climate related financial disclosures. I'll just show you something more on this. Again, see our material topics. So these are the, remember we saw something similar material topics in another report also. For example, this one. Before this, we saw some material, topics that were material with respect to the ESG point of view. I'll just quickly show you and provide you the details. Over here. ESG materiality metrics. Just now we saw these are the material topics. Same way, you have this one, material topics over here. This is the materiality assessment done, understanding the material issues. This is a very important part of your ESG reporting. Very important part to understand what is material issues with respect to the ESG reporting. Okay, so they identify the most material issues to the business and stakeholders, and they, based on that materiality assessment, okay, identify this material issues, okay, and accordingly they report on these issues. And accordingly they report on these issues. And if you see over here, these are the issues which are there. Total 25 issues. Okay. Now I'll show you something more with respect to this reporting only. So this is the integrated reporting. We are talking about 6 capitals. Okay. And accordingly, they have reported as a part of their reporting. Human capital. Then you have, manufactured capital, intellectual capital, social and relationship capital. Okay. We have social, and we will come to that PRSR report. The CSR report as a part of ESG initiative, okay, which was introduced in 2014. Secretarial audit, secretarial audit. Just a minute. Over here. This is your and sustainability report. Okay, we have to download something more. Wait a minute. So they have a different section on this report. Okay. This is the disclosure part of the report. General disclosure, management disclosure, and principle wise disclosure. Okay. And they have written something 9 principles. We'll also understand these principles from where they are coming. Okay. And accordingly, we'll see. So this is BRSR reporting that is being done over here. If you see, they have provided all the details with respect to the what reporting is required to be done. A separate report on BRSR. Now, when these reports come into the picture, they report it. Someone has to provide an assurance, and we are the ones who provide the assurance here. Okay. Now, I'll go back to the example, earlier example, because as of now, I don't want to go on to the principal side. Okay. Again, coming to the assurance report. Now we were talking about this identified sustainability indicators. And if I show you these are the identified sustainability indicators. Okay. Employee and workers, differently able employees and workers, participation, inclusion, and these are somewhere reported. These indicators are reported in your, BRSR report. These are multiple indicators, and they are again divided on the basis of, okay, principle. If you see principle 1, principle 2, principle 3, principle 9, so they are divided based on 9 principles, these indicators, and they are into different sections. So whatever detail is reported over here, if I just go to the section of this report, this is the general disclosure part. So again, BRSR report is divided into 3 categories or 3 reporting sections. First, general. Second, you have a specific sum matters, and third is the principle based reporting. Okay. So that was the first general. Over here, you have general disclosure section A of the reporting. And some of the indicators are already covered over here. For example, if I just show you one indicator that is there in section A, that is turnover rate for permanent employees and worker. That is part of section A, point number 20, this one. Okay. Let's go to the point number 20 and see what indicator it is. Turnover rate for permanent employees and workers. Now, if you see, there is some turnover rate is being given for permanent employees and workers, male, female total in FY 21-22, 2021, and 22-23. I am providing limited assurance on these numbers. I am providing limited assurance on these indicators. Okay. So limited assurance is being provided on these indicators over here. As a result, I have to be clear that how they have been calculated, or how they have been reported. Then only you can provide limited assurance. Okay, kind of, you are doing auditing of this. You are auditing the numbers over here, these numbers which are not financial numbers, but from a point of view of limited assurance. Understand the thing. You are verifying the numbers, but from the point of view of limited assurance. Like what we do in limited assurance engagement, how we do audit in limited assurance engagement. If I ask you to review, okay, in case of a limited assurance engagement, what procedures we follow? What procedures we follow, guys? In limited assurance engagement, what procedures do we follow? Come on, we have discussed this. In limited assurance engagement, what procedures do we follow? Come on, quickly. Come on, guys. Okay. Good Mancha, good Suraj. What else? Anything else you do in a limited assurance engagement, limited review engagement? Come on, quickly. We have discussed this. Now, if this is a limited assurance engagement, then what we do as a procedures, what we have learned. Very good, Shravan. Suraj. Yes, very good. Okay, Tanisha. But the basic point that we do as a limited assurance engagement, what we do as a limited assurance engagement, what we verify in limited assurance engagement, what audit procedures we apply, what audit procedures we apply in limited assurance engagement. Come on, come on. Anyone? Very good, Tanisha. Yes. So what we do is very good, Mancha. We perform inquiry and analytical procedures. We perform inquiry and analytical procedures, and then we issue. Then If nothing has came to our attention, then we issue a limited assurance report. Correct? That we have seen till now. Same way, here also, we will perform these procedures subject to the guidance laid under the standard. Okay. So, subject to the guidance that is laid under the standard, we will perform these procedures, and on the basis of that, okay, we will issue this assurance report. Now, again, this assurance report that I'm talking about here, these are the indicators which we have which we have reviewed as a part of assurance engagement. So we should be aware that how basically these numbers are calculated, these indicators are calculated. Rather, we don't call these as an indicators. We call these as an no, we don't call these as the numbers. We call them as an indicators. Okay. So we understand how these indicators over here are reported. Clear till now? Clear till now? Any doubt till whatever we have discussed till now? Any doubt? Any doubt? See, not in each and every case. Okay, the numbers are the indicators are easy to understand. They require a level of understanding. Okay, of the topic. For example, this is only employee related. I'm showing you one example. That's why you are able to understand. But if I go to some other critical example, let me show you one principle based example. See over here, total energy consumption, energy intensity per rupee of turnover. Okay. For example, then you have this one, water withdrawal by source, third party water, groundwater, total volume of water. Okay. Now these are the quantitative reporting. We call it as a quantitative reporting. But apart from this, there is lot many things which are written over here. For example, water conservation program about this over here. Okay. This is written. This is quantitative plus qualitative reporting. Indicators are still there, but these are the qualitative reporting. So it's not only one indicators that the numbers we are focusing over here, but it's a qualitative and quantitative reporting both. For example, this one. Yes, our responsible partner policy set out the requirement that all our suppliers must meet do the business with us. So, if they are reporting something on a qualitative aspects also, that okay, they have a responsible partner policy. As an engagement, as a limited review engagement, you have to perform some procedures in order to validate the same. Okay. So these indicators are critical from the reporting point of view. And if you see over here, these, you know, we plan and perform this engagement to obtain limited assurance about whether the identified sustainability indicators are free from material misstatement. A limited assurance engagement involves assessing the suitability of the circumstances of the company's use of criteria as a basis of preparation of the identified sustainability indicators. Assessing the risk of material misstatement of identified sustainability indicators, whether due to fraud or error, responding to the assessed risk as necessary in the circumstance, and evaluating the overall presentation of the identified sustainability indicators. So it's not only about the reporting, it's about the presentation disclosure also. And if you see, a limited assurance engagement is substantially less in scope than a reasonable assurance engagement in relation to both risk assessment procedures, including an understanding of the internal control and the procedures performed in response to assessed risk. So, given the circumstances of the engagement, in performing the procedures listed above, we, what they did with respect to the procedures, obtain an understanding of the identified sustainability indicators and related disclosures, obtain an understanding of the assessment criteria and their suitability for the evaluation and or measurement of the identified sustainability indicators, made inquiries of the company's engaged management, including the various teams such as sustainability team, CSR team, etc., and those responsible for managing companies' BRSR reporting, performed understanding and evaluation of the design of key structures, system, process, controls for managing, reporting, recording on the identified sustainability indicators, checked on the consolidation for various sites and corporate offices under reporting boundary for ensuring completeness of the data, perform limited substantive testing on the selective basis on identified sustainability indicators at corporate head office and in relation to the sample of the site visited. Okay, to check the data has been appropriately measured with the underlying document records collated and reported. Assess the level of adherence to the guidance note for BRSR format followed by the company in preparing BRSR. Assess the BRSR for detecting on a test basis any major anomalies between the information reported in BRSR on a performance with respect to the agreed indicators, parameters, and relevant source of data and information. Obtain representation from the company's management. Okay. And this is, we discussed one already. Exclusions. Our limited assurance scope exclude the following and therefore we do not express a conclusion on the same. Testing the operating effectiveness of the management system and controls, performing any procedure over other information, operations of the company's aspect of the report, and data, qualitative, quantitative, including in the BRSR, not agreed under this letter of scope of assurance, statement that describe the expression of opinion, belief, aspiration, expectation, aim, future intention, and all those stuff, forecast kind of. And if you see the conclusion, based on the procedures we have performed and the evidence we have obtained, nothing has come to our attention that caused us to believe that the company identified sustainability indicators included in the business responsibility and sustainability report for the year ended this are not prepared in all material respect in accordance with the criteria. This is a negative assurance which is given over here because it's a limited review. Okay. And accordingly, they have prescribed like what they have done with respect to these identified sustainability indicators in this particular assurance engagement. So it is very important for us to understand the reporting. Otherwise, without understanding the reporting, you cannot do a assurance engagement with respect to that. Clear? Any doubt till now? Any doubt? Any doubt? Now the question comes is with respect to this BRSR reporting, from where it is coming? Like, okay, we know BRSR is, they are reporting the BRSR sustainability indicators and everything. But from where it is coming? That is an important question that we need to understand now. Yes, we have given the conclusion, not the opinion, because it's a limited assurance engagement. We will never give a conclusion. Rather, we will never give an opinion. Rather, we will give a conclusion over here. Opinion is given in the reasonable assurance. Conclusion is given in the your limited assurance. If you see, we discuss in this point in chapter number 10, that in limited assurance we give conclusion, in reasonable assurance we give opinion. Now the next topic that I want to discuss is very important one also. Okay, these principles, if you see, there is some principle written, principle 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 8 and 9. I could see 9 principles over here. So what are these 9 principles? From where these principles are coming, and how they are different or related to the whatever we have seen till now. Okay, so I'll just show you the BRSR reporting requirement that came from SEBI. So as per the SEBI, okay, BRSR reporting requirement was made mandatory. Okay, and they presented 2 things. One, a format that was a part of annexure 1. Okay, second was general guidance with respect to how the reporting should be done. Okay, as a part of to understand the format and the reporting in more detail. So they issued the guidance also. That is, as of now, also followed, and very important part when it comes to the reporting, because that helps to help us understand basically the reporting part. If you see the reporting, this is the annexure 1. Okay, it is divided in 3 sections. BSR-SR reporting format is divided in 3 sections. Section number 1 is general disclosure. It provides general disclosure about the entity, product or service which is provided by the business, like detail of business activity, product, service sold by the entity. Okay, operations, number of locations where plant or operations or office are situated, market served by the entity, number of locations, what is contribution of export percentage, a brief on the customer type. And if I show you with the example of the report, see, section A, general disclosure, details of the listed entity. Then product or service, detail of the business activity, accounts for 90% of the turnover, what they sell. Then you have product or service sold by the entity. Okay, same 90% in one. Operations, number of locations, market served by the entity. Then you had a brief with respect to just a minute, number of locations. Then you have a what is the contribution of export as a percentage of total turnover of the entity. If you see this one particular point, and they have provided the reporting here. What is the contribution of export as a percentage of total turnover of the entity? So they have provided this particular data. Then what is the type of customers? Same. If you see type of a brief on type of customers, they have provided the reporting over here. Then employee related, permanent employee, total employee, okay, male, female, permanent, other than permanent, differently abled employees. So this was employees and workers. This is differently abled employees, participation, inclusion, representation of women related, turnover rate. Remember, we were discussing just something with respect to the turnover rate earlier in our example. In section A, point number 20, there was turnover rates. So these are the turnover rates from here coming for past 3 years. Name of holding, subsidiary, associate, joint venture, CSR details, okay, transferring and disclosure compliance with respect to complaints and grievance of any principal, principle 1 to 9 under national guidance on responsible business conduct, okay. Overview of the entity's material responsible business conduct issues. And then you have a section B, okay. So this was the section A. In section A, again, you will find some reference to the principle 1 to principle 9. Principle 1 to principle 9 under national guidelines on responsible business conduct. Now, what is this? Okay, what is this particularly guidelines talking about? To whom they are applicable, and what are these guidelines about? So these guidelines were issued by the government of India, basically national guidelines on responsible business conduct. It was issued by the Ministry of Corporate Affairs. Now these guidelines basically provided some background about like what and how a responsible business should be there and how reporting should be done on the responsible business. Okay. So these guidelines were made, were designed for all businesses, irrespective of the sectors. Okay. For MNCs, okay, to be followed so that they can, report on the responsible business conduct. Okay. So there were total 9 principles which were enumerated in this guideline. I'll just show you that one also. So these are the national guidelines on responsible business conduct issued. Okay. So these guidelines provide the principles that I told you. Okay. Now, if you see, I'll show you the principles one by one. Principle 1, business should conduct and govern themselves with the integrity and in a manner that is ethical and transparent and accountable. Okay. So what is they will provide them? Principle 2, business should provide good service in a manner that is sustainable and safe. Principle 3, business should respect and promote the well-being of all employees, including those in their value chains. Principle 4, business should respect the interest of and be responsible to all its stakeholders. Principle 5, business should respect and promote human rights. 6, business should respect and make efforts to protect and restore the environment. 7, businesses when engaging in influencing public and regulatory policy should do in so manner that is responsible and transparent. 8, business should promote inclusive growth and equitable development. Okay. 9, business should engage with and provide value to their customer in a responsible manner. So these are the 9 principles which were there. Okay. For responsible business conduct. So business should act based on these 9 principles. That was the guidelines which was given. Okay. Now, based on this, okay, then when BRSR came into picture, they adopted reporting on base of these guidelines. If you see in section 2, you will find some questions and mapping to those principles, mapping to those 9, uh, those principles over here. So when I call it NGRBC, that is the National Guidelines on Responsible Business Conduct. NGRBC. Okay. So the reporting, BRSR reporting was designed in such a way that it, also take care of the NGRBC, that is National Guidelines on Responsible Business Conduct, that whether those 9 principles are adhered to or not, and how these 9 principles are being satisfied with respect to different, okay, policies, procedures, and measures that has been adopted by the company. So this BRSR reporting provides in-depth guidance with in-depth, I would say, way to report on adoption of those 9 principles. Through BRSR reporting, you can report on these 9 principles, whether these 9 principles has been adopted appropriately or not. And somewhere down the line, this was part of the reporting that was already there in these guidelines. Then it was also adopted in BRSR. Okay. Now, it might be a lot of information that I'm providing to you guys, but any doubt with respect to whatever I have, discussed till now, any doubt with respect to these 9 principles, from where they are coming, responsible business conduct guidelines, national guidelines on responsible business conduct, BRSR reporting, ESG, any doubt till now? Any doubt? Yes, the reporting, this particular report is a BRSR report, Business Responsibility and Sustainability Reporting Format, issued by the SEBI, which contains your reporting on national guidelines. Any doubt? Any doubt, guys? No? No doubts? Okay. If no doubts, then let's take a quick 10-minute break. After the break, we'll gather back and continue the session. Let's take a quick 10-minute break. let's continue the topic. Okay. Now, let's understand basically the history of ESG in India. Okay. Now, we will try to understand the history. So, it all started when this CSR guidelines came into picture in 2009. So, MCA in 2009 issued these voluntary guidelines for the businesses to add value to the operations and to contribute to the long-term sustainability of the business. Okay. These are very important guidelines that were issued in 2009. And then, after 2009, in 2011, National Voluntary Guidelines on Social, Environmental, and Economic Responsibility of Business came into picture. So the guidelines that we see now, as of now, that is National Guidelines on Responsible Business Conduct, you can say this had a previous version also. That previous version was 2011 Voluntary Guidelines. Okay. Because the National Guidelines on Responsible Business Conduct 2018 is an improvement over the existing 2011 guidelines. That is National Voluntary Guidelines on Social, Environmental, and Economic Responsibility of Business. Okay. So these guidelines got, you can say, upgraded and become NGRBC. Later in 2018, these guidelines become a base for the NGRBC. Okay. In 2012, SEBI mandated Business Responsibility Statement or Report. Okay. BRR report for top 100 listed companies. After this 2011 guidelines, SEBI in 2012 mandated for top 100 listed companies Business Responsibility Statement. Then, as of 2015, as a part of SEBI LODR, BRR was implemented within the SEBI LODR framework. So it became, important for each and every listed entity. Now, BRR Business Responsibility Statement was, with respect to reporting on environment, social, and governance parameters, okay, of the regulations. And it, started from top 500 listed companies. Then SEBI in 2017 came up with the integrated reporting, the 6 C's. When I talk about integrated reporting, it is a 6C reporting. Okay, and if I just show you integrated reporting 6C1 over here, integrated reporting, that you need to report upon 6 C's: financial capital, manufactured capital, natural capital, human capital, social capital, intellectual capital. Okay, so you need to report on this 6 C's as a part of your integrated reporting, and that was made, okay, mandatory for top 500 companies, listed companies, okay, in 2017. Then in 2019, basically the 18 guidelines were, finalized and issued in 2019. Okay, and they were applicable from 2019. That is National Guidelines on Responsible Business Conduct, NGRBC 2018 came into picture. Okay, they were issued on 10 December 2018. By the time that got finalized, it became 2019. In 2019, Business Responsibility Statement or report became mandatory for top 1,000 listed entities. Instead of, earlier top 100 listed, it became mandatory for top 1,000 listed. And in 2021, a new reporting requirement came into picture. That is ESG parameter reporting requirement that was known as BRSR reporting. So that was the evaluation from 9, 12, 14, 15, 17, 19, 21, and 22. In 2014 also, okay, very important. That is the CSR responsibility, corporate social responsibility, and CSR rules came into picture. They got they were made mandatory. Okay. So again, these are some key phases with respect to evaluation of the ESG in Indian environment. So if I talk about today's time with respect to the reporting, you have business responsibility report, you have integrated reporting, you have BRSR reporting. Okay, we have these three different kind of reporting with respect to ESG reporting. Along with that, you have a CSR reporting that again it's mandated by the SEBI now for certain class of companies. Okay, so these reporting requirement is also there. So all these are now part of ESG reporting in India. So you were already seeing the ESG reporting, that CSR, BRR, IR, but now you understand that this is the whole ESG reporting ecosystem in India. Any doubt? Any doubt till now? Now, in front of that, we had some initiatives by ICAI. Okay, ICAI started or constituted into the 2020 a Sustainability Reporting and Standard Board, SRSB. Okay, now this board was, this board took a mission to develop appropriate measures and to increase awareness and implement, responsible business conduct, developing audit guidance for the integrated reporting. Okay, ICA has also started a certificate course on sustainable development goals, SGD. Okay, and business responsibility reports, integrated reporting. Okay, and also has proposed executive development program on business responsibility reporting. In last 2 years, ICI came up with four different things. One, standard on assurance engagement, SAE 3410, now which is, again, is now as a double SAE, that is standard on sustainability assurance engagement. Okay. You have a background material on BRSR, okay, which is already issued in 2001. Then you have guidance issued on the sustainable development goals. Okay. With respect to part 1 to 5, then you have a part 6 to 11, then you have part 11 to 17. They also have a FAQs on sustainability reporting, art of good governance, and sustainability report maturity model. This version 1. Now we already have this version 2 issued. Okay. As a part, this was recently issued. Plus, there is another thing, that is social auditing standards. I'll come on to that topic also, but there are social auditing standard also. Along with this, okay, as of now, we also have SSAE, that is 3000. That is sustainability, standard on sustainability assurance engagement 3000, which deals with basically, assurance engagement on sustainability information. Okay. So this is on the sustainability information. Again, this will be mandatory from period after 31st March 2024. Okay, this is the one as of now proposed. Along with this, you have a various other things also. Okay, which have been there is an online certificate course on BRSR also, which has started by the ICAI. So you have an online certificate course on this particular part. Then there are multiple things which has been done by the institute on the or the initiatives taken by the institute in this particular area. And when I talk about BRSR, like we discussed about the section 1 general disclosures, section B is related to the management process and disclosures. Okay, and if I'll just show you quickly the section B also. This is the section B, which is management and process disclosures, which talks about section aimed at helping business to demonstrate structure policies. Okay, if you see, like if you just go through this, that it has the policy been approved by the board? Which policy they are talking about? Policies, whether your entity's policies cover each principal and core element of the NGRBC. Okay, web link of the policy. Okay, governance, leader, oversight, details of NRGC, NGRBC of by the company, initiatives taken. So all these things. Then you have a section C, principle-wise performance disclosure, and these are the same principles that we saw in the NGRBC. That's principle 1. What is the the reporting that has been business has done with respect to this principle. Principle 2. Okay, business should provide good services in manner that is sustainable and safe. So, for example, percentage of R&D and capital expense investment in specific technologies to improve the environmental and social impact of the product process to total R&D, CapEx investment, all these things, principle-wise disclosure is required then in each of the category. Principle 4, business should respect the interest of and be responsible to all its stakeholders. Principle 6, business should respect and make efforts to protect and restore environment. Then 7, you have 8 and 9. So these principle reportings are there. Okay, as a part of BRSR reporting. And if I just show you one report, okay, again, remember we were talking about the various principles. The principles are mapped accordingly over here. And if I show you the reporting, see, principle-wise reporting over here, that is principle 1, what they have done with respect to the principle 1 over here. Then you have a principle 2, what they have done with respect to the principle 2. Principle 3, again, what they have done with respect to principle 3. Same way, you will find various principles, like all the 9 principles. Principle 4 reporting. You have a principle 5 reporting. Principle 6 reporting. Principle 7 reporting. 8 and 9 reporting over here. Principle 9, 8 was there. Principle 8 reporting over here. And principle 9 reporting. Now, in front of each reporting, you might have already seen this particular, mapping. In front of each principle, there is this mapping. And why this mapping is there? Reason because these principles were mapped or you were aligned with the sustainable development goals. So if you see, all the 9 principles today are aligned with the sustainable development goals. So I'll show you. This is alignment of principle and the sustainable development goals. Means which principle is, satisfying which sustainable development goal. A principle might be satisfying more sustainable development goals. A principle might be satisfying certain sustainable development goals. But all sustainable development goals should be covered by, between all the principles. So by adopting principle-based reporting, we are also adopting reporting on the sustainable development goals. So it's a dual purpose reporting kind of, you can say. That's why, let's say, for example, if I just show you, which is one principle 7. Okay. If I see principle 7, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 sustainable development goals, mapped in front of that. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So they have more because they might have done some additional reporting in this principle. Accordingly, they have, those sustainable development goals mapped in front of that. Okay. Again, now assurance in BRSR report that we have discussed already. SEBI has currently, started with top 1,000 listed companies. Okay. Assurance on BRSR report is, I would say, it's not as of now that much, adopted in India, which is known as BRSR core framework. Okay. But basically, these metrics now are required to be followed by top 1,000 listed entities. And I'll show you the path that SEBI has proposed with respect to this reporting. So SEBI came up with a core framework, BRSR core framework. Okay. Now this core framework was mandated for certain class of entities from 2023. So BRSR core framework for assurance and ESG disclosure value chain. Okay. Now the BRSR core is a subset of BRSR consisting set of 9 key performance indicators, metrics under 9 ESG attributes. Those are the 9 principles that I'm talking about. Keeping in view with the relevance of the Indian and emerging market context, few new KPIs have been identified for assurance, such as job creation in small towns and all those new is there. Further, for better comparability, intensity ratio based on revenue adjusted for purchasing power parity has been included. The format of BRSR core for renewable assurance is placed in Annexure 1. So they have came up with a new format with respect to BRSR core. And this new framework basically, helps entity with respect to reporting on certain new parameters. Okay, which is greenhouse gas, water footprint, energy footprint, a lot of things are there. Okay, then, accordingly, some revision was done to the BRSR reporting format. Okay, now, with effect from FY 23-24, the top 1,000 listed entities by market capitalization are required to make disclosure as per the updated BRSR format as a part of their annual reports. So top 1000 listed entities from FY 23-24 are required to make disclosures as per the updated format as a part of their annual report. So we'll see a lot of reporting in FY 23-24 annual report. Listed entities are required. Listed entities shall mandatorily undertake reasonable assurance of the BRSR code, and which is given as a glide path. In 23-24, top 150 listed entities. In 24-25, top 250 listed entities. And accordingly, by 26-27, top 1000 listed entities are required to undertake reasonable assurance of the BRSR code. So what is the BRSR code? BRSR code contains a cross-reference to the disclosure contained in the BRSR. Okay. So the core basically is kind of, a cross-reference with respect to the BRSR reporting. I'll just show you the format of the core. So core is different and BRSR report is different. This is the format of BRSR core, okay, which includes various parameters, measurement, and cross-reference to BRSR. So this has some measurement attributes. If you see, this core has attributes, parameters, and how to measure these parameters, data and assurance approach, how to measure this particular parameter, what data is required for each of the parameter. If you see now, water footprint, I'll just give you an example. Water footprint, the parameter is the total water consumption. Measurement should be done in million liters or whatever terms they are given. And data and assurance approach. Water consumed is water that is no longer available for use. Used by the ecosystem or local community, such as water that has been withdrawn and incorporated into the products or has evaporated or it's polluted to the point being unusable by the other users and therefore not released back to the surface water, groundwater, sea water or a third party. It also includes water that has been stored during the reporting period for use or discharge in a subsequent reporting period. If the entity cannot directly measure its water consumption, it may calculate using the following way. Okay. This is the way. And if you see the mapping, it is principle number 6, question number 3 of essential indicators. So these 4 reporting framework matrices has been cross-referenced to the BRSR reporting. So various different terms or various different ratios has been brought into or figures have been brought into for the reporting point of view, which has a cross-reference to the BRSR. And how these are required to be validated. The data and the assurance approach. Okay. So disclosure of the value chain shall be made by the listed company as per the BRSR code. It's a part of the annual report. Okay. So the core is made applicable. See, reporting is another thing. Applicability of the BRSR code to the top listed entity is different thing. Core is applicable to top 150 listed entities from 23-24. But when I say reporting of BRSR format based, that is top 1000 entities. Yes, reasonable assurance engagement for the core, for the ratios that are there, kind of. Okay. Now, ESG disclosures for the value chain shall be applicable to the top 250 listed entities on a comply or explain basis from financial year 24-25. Now, what is this ESG related? This is the ESG related value chain. So disclosure for the value chain shall be made by the listed entities as per the core as a part of its annual report. For this purpose, value chain shall encompass the top upstream and downstream partners of the listed entities. So now you need to disclose about your upstream and downstream partners also. And that is applicable from 24-25 on a comply or explain basis to top 250 listed entities. Limited assurance of the above shall be applicable on comply or explain basis from 25-26. So for the ESG value chain disclosure, there is a limited assurance required. An assurance provider. Okay. So basically, this is kind of, shall ensure that the assurance provider of the BSR SR core has the necessary expertise for undertaking reasonable assurance, everything like, they have provided who can provide the assurance over there. So no conflict of interest should be there with the assurance provider. Okay. For instance, it shall be ensured that the assurance provider or any of its associate do not sell its product or provide any non-audit, non-assurance related services, including consulting services to the listed entity or its group. So audit related and assurance related services are fine, but non-audit, non-assurance related services, including consulting, is not appropriate. So that will create a conflict of interest. So this is the BRSR core framework and assurance for ESG disclosure and value chain requirement that was brought by SEBI on July 12th, 2023. Okay, we understood in detail. So now we are talking about assurance. So let's say for example tomorrow if we are providing assurance over the BRSR core, or we are providing the assurance on the BRSR reporting or ESG value chain. So what standard we have to use is standards on sustainability assurance engagement, SAE 3000. That is the one that will be used and will help us in performing these assurance engagement. I have discussed this earlier also. So this standard will help us in help us guiding to perform this assurance engagement. And as I told you, it's mandatory for the assurance report covering period after ending 31st March 2024. Again, there is SAE 3410, assurance engagement on greenhouse gas statement, which deal with the assurance engagement on the entity's sustainability information, including assurance of the BRSR format. Okay. Any doubt till now with respect to the assurance of BRSR? So we understood what is BRSR code. We understood what is BRSR report format. Okay. And we understood there is a third reporting, which is the ESG value chain reporting. Clear? Any doubt till now? Any doubt, guys? Okay. No doubts? Any questions, any doubt, guys? Very important, we need to understand very important part that is required to be understood over here. So there's a guidance note also issued by the SEBI on BRSR reporting with respect to explanation of all the matters which are there in the BRSR report, how to report that, how to, instructions and guidelines are issued in that. Any doubt? Any question till now? No? Okay, great. So I hope you are clear with the, BRSR reporting or ESG in India. Okay. Now let us see some of the, areas with respect to the ESG outside India. Let's see with respect to ESG in global countries. Okay. Now let's talk about ESG in US. Okay. Now what is the ESG requirement in US as of today? US reporting, or what is the requirement? So when I talk about ESG requirement or ESG reporting in US, basically it is governed by the SEC. So SEC has already proposed climate-related disclosures requirement as a part of their annual reporting for the public traded companies. Okay, and these regulations were, issued in March 2022. Okay, in July 2023, just last year only, SEC adopted new disclosure rules on cybersecurity also, along with the ESG. Okay, as a part of the ESG reporting only, they adopted cybersecurity rules also. Now, in US, basically, SEC are required to disclose as per the TCFD. What is TCFD? We have seen somewhere. That is basically the task force for the climate-related disclosures. Okay, the task force which was there for the climate-related disclosures, recommendations were provided by them, and these recommendations were, adopted by the US SEC for the reporting purpose. Okay, and there are, various, I would say, things happening in the US market with respect to the ESG. Okay, new things are coming, and things are under discussion. So this is very, evolving and changing scenario as of today, I would say. Very evolving and changing. With passage of the each day, some new updates, new amendments are coming in this particular area. So if you ask me today, it will be something else. And if you ask me tomorrow, a new thing might be there. A new legislation might have been, already applied. Okay. Now, this was US. In UK, okay, what is with respect to the ESG currently? Basically, in US, in UK, there were, regulations, there were certain regulations which were brought into. Now, one regulation was Company Strategic Report and Climate-Related Financial Disclosure Regulations and Limited Liability Partnership Climate-Related Financial Disclosures 22. In 22, these regulations were brought into, okay, and these regulations were then, made applicable for the, public interested entities. So if it is the PI entity, public interest entity, they were supposed to provide non-financial information statements under these regulations. Again, UK also came up with the sustainability information statement, okay, for public interest entities. Then there were other assurance team also that, assurance requirement for these statements which were brought also, okay, as a part of their regulations. Recently, in UK, basically recently, with respect to ESG, okay, uh, European Union and UK, okay, they are planning to implement these ESG related disclosures, okay, for all the entities, for all the companies. But as of now, that is under discussion. But they that is expected that might come up very soon. In European Union also, there was a task force, that is Sustainable Finance Disclosure Regulation Task Force, which was there, which brought these regulations, 2021 regulations, SFDR regulations were called, okay, and which again required you know to report, and they were based on the framework level 1, level 2, something like that, and it was expected to go live from 2024. Then there was anti-greenwashing rules which were applicable in UK, okay, which were finalized in November 2023. Again, there were corporate sustainability and reporting directives which were issued, again, which are supposed to go live from 2025. So a lot is happening in this particular area, a lot, with respect to the ESG and sustainability reporting requirement in different regions. Okay. Now, along with this, okay, I'll talk about one more thing. We saw SAE 3410, SAE 33,000, okay, double SAE 3410 and double SAE 3000. Okay. Now I will talk about IFRS in this area. Okay. What is, with respect to the IFRS and IFRS 1, S1, you might have already heard, some of you, that there is something called as IFRS S1. Now, basically, what is IFRS S1? So, IFRS, that is, that we already know, from where we have the India's converged. So there is International Sustainability Standard Board, which is known as ISSB. Or I think just a minute. Yeah, over here we have this International Sustainability Standard Board, which was set by IFRS Trust Foundation trustees on November 2021. What was the role of this Sustainability Standard Board? This Sustainability Standard Board has a role to develop sustainability standards, sustainability reporting standards. Okay. So this standard was supposed to is equipped with the task to develop standard for the global baseline of the sustainability related disclosures. Okay, to develop standard to meet the information required by the investors, to enable companies to provide comprehensive sustainability information. Okay, to facilitate interoperability. Okay, interoperability with the disclosure that are jurisdiction specific or aimed at a broader stakeholder group for the MNCs. Again, this standard adopted, this board basically adopted some guidelines, some recommendations. One of such recommendations was Task Force on the Climate Related Disclosures recommendations, which were there, issued by this particular task force. Plus, there was the Climate Disclosure Standard Board already, an international group of business. They also came up with some reporting requirements with respect to the climate related disclosures that was also adopted by the ISSB. And then ISSB basically created, or came up with two projects, that is IFRS S1 and S2. Okay, IFRS S1 and S2 were two standards that were brought Now, these are again, in a draft stage somewhere. So there is a transition period for these standards. So IFRS S1 was basically is general requirement for the disclosure of sustainability related financial information. So IFRS S1 is basically, on the general requirement for disclosure of sustainability related financial information. Okay. So this IFRS 1 came into picture. Okay. It is effective for the annual reporting period beginning after 1st January 2024 for the companies who have adopted the IFRS. Okay. Or where it is being made mandatory, it can be adopted after 1st Jan 2024. So basically, the countries which have adopted or the jurisdiction which have adopted IFRS directly over there, this IFRS S1 is applicable. Okay. Again, a lot of disclosures requirements are there with respect to IFRS S1. So the companies can adopt IFRS S1. Then came the IFRS S2. Again, IFRS S2 is again, with respect to the climate related disclosures. IFRS S2 is related to the climate related disclosures. Again, that is, can be effective or can be applied from 1st Jan 2024 for the companies who have already adopted the IFRS or where it is being made mandatory in the countries. So again, it is for IFRS S2 is kind of, as of now, somewhere linked with the IFRS S1. Okay. They were earlier in the consultation phase. Now, IFRS S2 is also, effective from the 1st Jan 2024, and the companies where the government has made mandatory to comply with the IFRS, there they need to adopt it. So this was with respect to the IFRS and the international standards which are there for the reporting on ESG. So these are the international reporting standards basically on the ESG. As of now, we have these two, IFRS S1 and IFRS S2 issued by the ISSB. Okay. So there is one question, how integrated reporting is different to the ESG reporting? See, integrated reporting is basically reporting on 6C parameters. Okay, financial capital, manufacturing capital, it has a specific parameters to report upon. Whereas when I call it the ESG reporting, ESG or rather than the ESG reporting, we call them as a sustainability reporting. Okay. When you talk about ESG reporting, it is more a sustainability reporting, which covers three important aspects: environment, social, and governance. And the whole umbrella of the ESG has BRR, okay, integrated reporting, BRSR, CSR, okay. All these reporting are part of your ESG umbrella reporting. So when I call about ESG reporting, it is a various different reportings which a business has to, comply with. BRR, IR, BRSR, CSR, now the ESG value chain, DSR core. Okay. And if, let's say, if entity is adopting IFRS in the IFRS related, IFRS S1, S2 related disclosures, all these are part of sustainability reporting, ESG reporting. And all these reporting are based on these three pillars: environment, social, and governance. It is beyond the financials. beyond the financial numbers. I hope I have cleared your doubt, Mancha. Any doubts till now, guys? Any doubts? Any doubts? So that was the international background about the ESG till now. We understood the Indian background, we understood the international background, okay, with respect to the ESG. And trust me, when I talk about the international background, it's not only related to the IFRS 1, S1 or S2. It's a lot of different things are happening across the world with respect to the ESG reporting. And soon in the India also, we will see a major movement or major reporting, compile, you can say, amendments or requirements being made applicable for the all companies, not only listed companies or top 1,000, 2,000 listed companies. Gradually, it will be important for all listed, all companies. Okay. Now, very important part that I want to discuss over here, another important topic, which is somewhere related to, okay, ESG, is social audit standards, social auditing standards. So the SRSB, that is Sustainability Reporting Standard Board, the ICAI, has recently issued social auditing audit standards 100 to 1600. They are to provide us guidance to the social auditor with necessary guidance in relation to the independent impact assessment, engagement of the social enterprise, engage in various areas, and the audit steps and procedures that should be applied while conducting the social impact assessment. Okay. For a lot of new, for a lot of you, this will be a very new topic. You might have not have heard about this. So I'll just provide some background first on this. Okay. What is social auditing audit standards? Okay. Why we require these? And what is social auditor? What is social impact assessment? I'll just provide some background about these topics first. Okay. When I talk about social auditors, okay, in India also, we have the Institute of Social Auditors of India. As of now, it's a kind of, again, Section 8 company. It's not a, registered one, but there are certain, institutes in India. Plus, they are just providing some training, but we have ICAI issued a standard and, trainings on the social auditor. Plus, there is a social auditor exam which are conducted by, NISM about the social auditor certification exam. Okay, there is an exam which is conducted by them also. So there are different, institutes in India which somehow provide the training, but ICAI is the main authority which has issued the standards which are required to be followed. Okay, with respect to the social audit. Now, what are these standards and how they help us? Okay. When I talk about the social auditor, okay, or social audit is basically, basically an audit to assess the social impact assessment, to assess the social impact of the enterprises or certain enterprises which are social enterprises. Okay. Now, in India, there is an Institute of Social Auditors of India, as I told you, which is set up by ICAI only, okay, which has, a training and exam for these particular purpose, okay, and they carry, have the standard board also came out with these standards. So the social audit plus the standards together help, okay, to assess the social impact, basically, which is which is there in the market, which is enumerated by the social enterprises. Now, in social audit, there is an independent, objective, and reliable examination of the impact of a project or a program, basically, okay, which is taken by a social enterprise governed by a self-regulatory organization, could be a self-regulatory organization or any other regulatory authority. So, for example, poverty-related program. Now, there is a program, poverty-related. Now, if someone wants to carry out the social impact assessment of that program, for that, a social audit is required to be done. Okay. A social audit is required to be done. Now, this social audit basically will assess the impact of that program, whether the program or the project is operating in accordance with the strategic intent or planning for which it was, implemented or drafted or, brought into the picture. Now, when I talk about social enterprise, it's a non-profit organization. Could be a Section 8 company, could be a trust, or could be anything. Okay, or could be a regulatory authority that meets the specified criteria which has been, provided by the SEBI. So there is a SEBI circular of July 25th, 2022. They have provided some criteria, okay, for certain entities. If entities fall under that criteria, they can call themselves as a social enterprise. Again, for social impact assessment, okay, there has been a criteria, okay, which is again issued by the SEBI on 25th July 2022. And if an entity who has employed social auditors has a track record of minimum 3 years of conducting social impact assessment, then they can get themselves enrolled as a social audit firms. And social auditor is an individual registered with a self-regulatory organization under the ICAI, okay, as specified by the board, okay, who has qualified a certificate program conducted by the NISM in this regard. Okay, so these are the key terms with respect to this particular area. Again, I'll simplify for you. So, social audit firm is a firm who is employing social auditors to carry out social impact assessment of program implemented by social enterprise. Now, these social enterprise are, based on criteria. This social auditor is based on, again, criteria, and social impact assessment is based on, to be carried on based on standards. These are the standards which are required to be followed. Okay. So for the social impact assessment, plus based on the criteria, a person can enroll himself as a social auditor. Okay, who has passed, okay, or qualified a certificate program conducted by the NISM, and he is registered with a self-regulatory organization under the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. So that person can call himself as a social auditor. Okay. So if a social audit firm appointing social auditors is carrying out social impact assessment, that is another term of social audit, okay, then that particular social audit is required to be carried as per the social audit standards. Okay. Now these standards help to assess the impact of the program. For example, eradicating hunger, poverty, and malnutrition related programs, promoting healthcare programs, promoting education. So these standards basically, okay, provide guidelines or provide, a path how to basically, assess these programs. If we want to assess a particular program, then how to be done it is how it is required to be done. How impact assessment is required to be done. That is there in these particular, standards. For example, SAS 100, that is eradicating hunger, poverty, malnutrition, and inequality. So, what is required to be done in this particular, if a program relates to this particular area? Okay, if the thematic area of the program is eradicating hunger, poverty, or malnutrition, then what data is required to be collected? What review is required to be followed? What are the program guidelines issued by the government of India? Okay, inspection, what inspection is required to be done? What questions are required to be addressed or answered under this particular program? Okay, for example, what are the key metrics which are required to be assessed to check whether the impact of the program is appropriate or not? Okay, evaluation criteria, all these things are contained in the standard. Assessment or challenge limitations, some limitations with respect to the assessment. Okay, taxonomies or classification of areas, sub areas of social objectives, a lot of things is there in a particular standard. Okay, so this is with respect to the social audit standard. Again, I'll repeat it again. So when I talk about social auditing standards, why they are applicable and when they are applicable? When a social audit, okay, social audit is a independent, objective, reliable examination of an impact. Basically, you can call it a social impact assessment of a program. Okay, which is carried by a social enterprise. When a social audit of a social enterprise is done by a social auditor, at that point in time, social auditing standards are required to be followed. Okay. And these social auditors can have their social audit firms. I hope it is clear with respect to the social auditor, social audit, social impact assessment, and social audit standards. So these standards are based on thematic areas. Okay, different program areas that are there. So if a program is promoting gender equality, for that program, social audit standard number 400 will be applicable. Okay, so these are all thematic areas. We call it a thematic areas. These are the area-based standards. So if a program is related to the disaster management, relief, rehabilitation, and reconstruction activities, then SAS 1200 will be applicable. If it is related to the training of to promote rural sports, national recognized sports, Paralympic sports, Olympic sports, then SAS 700 will be applicable. So based on the area, this standard will be applicable. Any doubt with respect to this? Any doubt? Any doubt? So there is one doubt with respect to sustainable stock exchange. Now, sustainable stock exchange is a global platform for exploring, how exchanges can enhance performance on the ESG related issues. Okay, and how they can encourage sustainable investment. So basically, it's a global project on how ESG related, issues and uh, performance can be enhanced. It's a lot under development as of now. A lot, things are happening in this area, and basically, it is kind of an initiative, global initiative. But as I said, each and every jurisdiction is now adopting this initiative as their local part. Qualifications of social auditor. Okay. So when I talk about qualifications, eligibility, basically it's a eligibility criteria for the social auditor. Okay. That is basically, an individual or entity having a track record of minimum 3 years of conducting social impact assessment of a social enterprise, or, basically they are involved in that particular area. Plus they have, qualified a certificate program conducted by NISM. Okay, and holds a valid certificate. That individual can, get himself registered with a self-regulatory organization under the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India as a social auditor. Again, there are disqualifications also with respect to the social auditor, and it's in the detail, okay, in that particular circular that was issued by the SEBI. Any further doubt, guys? Any further doubt? So that was all about ESG, okay, social audits, and your sustainability. So what we, just a quick recap, what we discussed today. Okay, we discussed about the ESG pillar of sustainability. We discussed about the sustainability development goals. We discussed about global trends in the sustainability. I just, we discussed about US, EU, UK, IFRS. Okay, S1, S2. We discussed in India ESG reporting, which includes various things. We discussed about the ICAI initiative. Okay, we discussed about the sustainability reporting board also. Okay, then we discussed about SSAE 3000 3410. Okay, then we discussed about the integrated reporting of 6 Cs. We discussed about the role of auditor with respect to sustainability under BRSR. Just now I showed you one report with the start itself. Okay. Then we discussed about the SEBI's BRSR core reporting. We discussed about the, BRSR reporting with respect to principles. So there were 9 principles and 3 sections. Okay, in BRSR reporting. Plus we discussed about social audit. We discussed about, various other reporting under the BRSR. For example, ESG value chain reporting, from when they will be applicable, or, to whom they are applicable. So we discussed a lot on the ESG part today. Any doubt with respect to any of the part? Any doubt? Any doubt, guys? Okay. If no further doubts, okay, guys, with this particular chapter, we have completed our auditing syllabus over here. Okay, paper 3 syllabus over here. Before we part today, okay, I just want to provide some general guidelines to you, some general information, or some important things how you should prepare for your upcoming exams. Suraj, chapter 9 was the first chapter, first few lectures that were taken in the October itself. So we started with the chapter 9, this whole series. Okay. We started with the professional ethics first in October, and then we shifted to chapter 1 to 18. So chapter 9 is already, chapter 19 is already covered in October lectures when we started this particular batch. So chapter 1 to 19 all are covered as of today. Okay. How you should prepare for the exam. See, there are few things I would like to tell you. Number one, read the chapter. Must or required to be done for exam prep. Okay. Read the chapter. There is no alternative to this. No alternative to this. Number two, practice the questions in module. Plus, you have MTP, mock test papers, plus you have MCQ booklets or case scenarios, integrated case scenarios, various different materials issued by the Institute or Board of Studies. Use that material to practice. Number three, very, very important. Okay, make a habit of reading plus practicing, okay, on a continuous basis, on a basis. I'll tell you why. On why we require on continuous basis. See, some people have this query that okay, this is a theory subject. Today we have read, we understood everything, but after 2 days, after 3 days, we were not able to remember anything. So if you'll make a habit of reading, so for example, take up 15 minutes daily basis, 20 minutes daily basis. Just read quickly the summary you have prepared. I'm not talking about lecture, whole chapter reading. What I'll talk about is reading of summaries that is prepared chapter wise. Now your summary should help you in revising the chapter maximum in 15 to 20 minutes. Okay. If your summary can do that, means you have prepared a good summary, it can help you to revise the whole chapter in 15 to 20 minutes quickly. Okay. With all the important points. And if your summary is of that level, then keep a habit of reading the summary daily basis, 15 to 20 minutes, chapter wise. Like, okay, I took a chapter number 1 today. Tomorrow I'll take a 2. Day after tomorrow 3, 4, 5, like this way. Just 15 to 20 minutes. Once you have done all the reading, you have done the required practice, you have prepared the summary. Just keep, revising the summary. This will keep the topic fresh in your mind. This will keep everything in your mind, and you will not, feel, okay, I'm forgetting everything now. Very important part that people forget is once they complete the subject, they do not, revise the subject, or they do not, they lose the touch to the subject. Don't do that. Keep your touch to the subject. That is very important. Okay. These 3 things, trust me, will help you a lot for preparation of the exam. Plus, if you have any doubts, any queries, even after completion of the batch, you can mail. You have a mail ID of the Board of Studies for the queries. You can reach out to them. You can send your queries, and your queries will be answered accordingly. Okay. You have all the lectures now recorded with you. You can revisit the lectures if you have missed anything. I'll suggest please take this opportunity and revisit the lectures. Okay. If you need, you have all the materials available on the BOS portal, on the mobile app. Please use that app or the portal to access those materials and prepare well for the exam. There are few chapters this time in the course, in new version of the course that are new for the first time. I would say please pay attention to those that you might have not heard earlier or before from this. For example, ESG, for example, standards beyond 700 series. Okay. So please try to keep a habit of reading, revising, practicing. That will help you really well in your exam. With this, if you have no further doubts, thank you guys. Thank you for participating in the series in this batch. Okay. I wish you all the best for your exams. Prepare well, study well, and do good in your exam. Okay. Thank you guys. Thank you. Thank you for joining the lecture.